From the very first day she stepped into our home, our Husky seemed to understand that something special was about to happen. She was still young herself, full of energy, bright blue eyes always scanning the room, ears perking up at every sound. But the moment my wife became pregnant, her behavior slowly, almost magically, began to change. It was as if an invisible promise had been made, one that needed no words. She stayed closer, watched more carefully, and moved with a gentler patience we had never seen before. This wasn't training. This wasn't coincidence. This was instinct, loyalty, and a heart far bigger than her fluffy body. As the months passed, our Husky became my wife's constant shadow. Wherever she went, the dog followed, lying at her feet, resting her head against her legs, or quietly sitting nearby as if standing guard. Friends would laugh and say she was being dramatic, but deep down, we felt it too. She knew. Dogs sense things we often miss, and she sensed that a tiny life was growing, one that would soon become part of her pack. Every night, she slept beside the bed, facing outward, alert even in her dreams. The day we brought our baby home was the moment everything changed forever. The house was quiet, filled with nervous excitement and overwhelming love. Our Husky stood frozen at the doorway, eyes wide, tail still, as if she was taking in the most important sight of her life. We introduced her slowly, carefully, letting her sniff the air first. When she finally saw the baby, she didn't jump or bark. She lowered her head, sniffed gently, and then did something that made our hearts melt. She sat down and refused to leave the baby's side. From that day on, she appointed herself as the official guardian. Every nap, every feeding, every quiet moment, she was there. If the baby cried, she ran to us before we even realized a sound had been made. If someone new entered the room, she positioned herself between them and the crib, not aggressively, but protectively. It was like she had sworn an oath on day one, and she took that promise seriously. The cutest part was how she adapted her energy to match the baby. Huskies are known for being playful, loud, and dramatic. But around the baby, she became calm, almost peaceful. She moved slowly, avoided sudden motions, and even adjusted her breathing when lying next to the crib. When the baby started crawling, she followed at a safe distance, ready to intervene if needed. She never pushed, never rushed, never scared. She simply watched, always alert, always caring. One moment that truly stunned us happened late one night. The baby was sleeping, and we were exhausted. Suddenly, our Husky began softly whining and pawing at the bedroom door. At first, we thought she needed to go outside. But when we checked the baby monitor, we saw the baby stirring, just seconds away from waking up crying. Our Husky had sensed it before the sound even reached us. That night, we realized this wasn't just affection. This was responsibility. As the baby grew, their bond deepened in ways we could never have planned. The baby's first laughs were often caused by our Husky's silly expressions and gentle tail wags. She would sit patiently as tiny hands grabbed her fur, never snapping, never pulling away. Instead, she would lick the baby's fingers softly, as if reassuring, "I'm here. You're safe." Those moments felt unreal, like something out of a movie, yet they were happening right in our living room. What makes this story so powerful isn't just how cute it looks on camera. It's the emotion behind it. Our Husky didn't see the baby as competition or an interruption. She saw the baby as family. As her family. In her mind, protecting the baby wasn't a task, it was her purpose. She stood guard during diaper changes, nap times, and even playtime. When the baby learned to sit up, she stayed close, acting like a furry pillow in case of a tumble. Visitors were always amazed. They would say things like, "I've never seen a dog so gentle," or, "It's like she knows exactly what she's doing." And honestly, we believe she does. Animals have a way of loving without conditions, without expectations. Our Husky didn't protect the baby for praise or treats. She did it because love told her to. One of the most viral moments from the video is when the baby tries to crawl toward the edge of the couch. Before anyone can react, our Husky gently steps in, placing her body between the baby and danger. No barking, no panic, just calm, confident protection. That single moment captured everything: her promise, her instinct, her loyalty. People who watched the video said it made them cry, smile, and believe in the pure goodness of animals all over again. As parents, this bond gave us comfort beyond words. Knowing that even when our backs were turned for a second, someone was watching over our child with pure devotion, it was priceless. Our husky became more than a pet. She became family in the truest sense. A sister, a guardian, a best friend. The beauty of this story lies in its simplicity. There was no special training, no commands, no expectations. Just a husky who decided, from day one, that this tiny human was hers to protect. In a world that often feels loud and complicated, moments like these remind us of what really matters: love, loyalty, and the silent promises that don't need words. Today, as the baby continues to grow, their relationship keeps evolving. They play together, nap together, and sometimes even get into tiny disagreements that end in laughter and tail wags. Through it all, our husky remains true to her promise. She watches, she waits, she protects. This isn't just the cutest video ever. It's a reminder that love can come with fur, 4 legs, and a heart big enough to guard a lifetime. Once you see it, you'll never forget it. As time moved forward, something even more beautiful began to unfold. The baby was no longer just a tiny bundle sleeping in a crib. Personality started to appear, little sounds, curious eyes, tiny movements full of wonder. And through every stage, our husky adjusted herself as if she were growing alongside the baby. It felt like she was learning, too, figuring out how to be the best protector, the best companion, and the most patient guardian this child could ever have. When the baby began to roll over, our husky noticed before anyone else. The first time it happened, she let out a soft, excited howl, not loud, not alarming, but proud. She stood up, walked over, and gently lay down beside the baby, almost like she was saying, "You did it, but don't worry, I've got you." From that moment on, rolling over became a shared achievement. Every attempt was watched closely by a pair of bright blue eyes filled with care. As crawling started, the house turned into a new world of adventure. Corners, furniture, shadows, everything was new and interesting. But nothing escaped our husky's attention. She followed slowly behind, never blocking, never pushing, but always positioning herself in a way that kept the baby safe. If the baby crawled towards something sharp or unsafe, she would calmly step in front, creating a soft, furry barrier. It was incredible to watch how she understood limits without ever being taught. One of the most touching changes was how our husky became emotionally tuned to the baby. If the baby was fussy or uncomfortable, she would rest her head nearby, offering quiet comfort. If the baby laughed, she joined in with playful expressions and gentle tail wags. Their communication didn't need words. It was built on trust, presence, and a bond that grew stronger every single day. There were moments when parenting felt overwhelming, as it does for everyone. Sleepless nights, constant worry, and that fear every parent knows: am I doing enough? During those moments, our husky was there for us too. She would sit beside us during late-night feedings, eyes half closed but still alert. Her calm presence reminded us that we weren't alone in this journey. We were raising our child together, as a pack. As the baby learned to sit up, new challenges appeared. Balance was shaky, falls were frequent, and curiosity had no limits. And yet, every small tumble seemed softer when our husky was nearby. She would place herself just close enough to cushion a fall, never crowding, never interfering too much. It was as if she understood that learning requires space, but safety requires awareness. One unforgettable moment happened during playtime on the floor. The baby lost balance and gently fell backward. Before tears could even form, our husky rushed in, licking the baby's face and making silly sounds. The baby burst into laughter instead of crying. That moment captured everything about their bond: protection, comfort, and joy all wrapped into one. Family members often asked if we were ever worried about having a large dog around a baby. Our answer was always the same: we had never felt safer. Trust wasn't built overnight, but every day our husky proved herself. She respected boundaries, followed routines, and somehow understood when to be playful and when to be serious. She didn't see herself as above or below the baby, she saw herself as responsible for the baby. As months passed, the baby started recognizing her as more than just the dog. Tiny hands reached out not just to grab fur, but to seek comfort. The baby would crawl toward her after waking up, smiling wide, knowing that safety and warmth were waiting. Our husky responded by lowering herself to the baby's level, making eye contact, and gently nudging closer. That mutual recognition was pure magic. The video clips we shared showed only pieces of this journey, but behind every second was a story of patience and devotion. People commented from all over the world, sharing their own experiences with pets and children. Many said the video restored their faith in kindness. Others said it reminded them of pets they once had who protected their families in quiet, powerful ways. It became more than just a cute video, it became a shared emotion. As the baby began to stand, holding onto furniture with wobbly legs, our husky became even more alert. She stayed close, ready to catch a fall with her body if needed. When the baby finally took those first steps, guess who was right there? Walking slowly alongside, matching pace, never rushing ahead. That first walk wasn't just a milestone for the baby, it was a moment of pride for our husky too. There was a beautiful shift during this stage. The protection slowly turned into partnership. The baby wasn't just someone to guard anymore, they were a friend. Playtime became interactive. The baby laughed at her playful bows, and she responded with gentle zoomies around the room, careful never to knock anything over. They learned from each other, patience from her, confidence from the baby. One rainy afternoon, something small but powerful happened. The baby was feeling unwell and unusually quiet. Our husky sensed it immediately. She lay beside the baby for hours, barely moving, only lifting her head occasionally to check on them. No toys, no distractions, just presence. That kind of loyalty can't be trained. It comes from the heart. As parents, watching this bond grow taught us something important. Love doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it sits quietly beside you, watching, waiting, and protecting without ever asking for recognition. Our husky never demanded attention for what she did. She simply did what felt right to her. Now, when we look back at the early days, it feels almost unbelievable how naturally everything fell into place. From the first day our baby came home, our husky made a promise, and she has kept it every single day since. Through growth, change, and new challenges, her devotion has never faded. This story isn't just about a dog and a baby. It's about trust, instinct, and the incredible bonds that form when love is pure. It's about how animals often understand us better than we understand ourselves. And it's about the quiet heroes who protect without being asked, love without conditions, and stay loyal without limits. As the future unfolds, we know one thing for sure. No matter how big our baby grows, there will always be a husky nearby, watching with loving eyes, ready to protect, ready to comfort, and ready to keep the promise she made from day one. As the baby moved from toddlerhood toward becoming a little explorer, the bond between them and our husky entered an entirely new chapter. It was no longer just about protection from falls or quiet comfort during naps. Now it was about guidance, companionship, and learning the world together. Our husky seemed to understand that her role was evolving, and once again, she adapted without hesitation. The first words the baby learned weren't just, "Mama," or, "Dada." One of the earliest sounds that resembled a word was her name. Every time the baby tried to call her, our husky's ears perked up, her tail wagged, and she rushed over with excitement, but always slowing down at the last second, reminding herself that gentleness came first. That moment alone showed how deeply connected they had become. She wasn't just guarding anymore, she was being recognized. Walking soon turned into running, and that's when things could have become chaotic. A husky has energy for days, and a toddler has curiosity with no fear. But somehow, they met in the middle. When the baby ran, our husky ran too, but in a wide circle around them, like a moving fence. She never pushed from behind, never darted too close. She kept pace, matching speed, always aware of her size and strength. Watching them outside felt like witnessing a silent agreement between two souls. Trips to the park became a regular part of life. Other parents would watch nervously at first, seeing a large dog so close to a small child. But within minutes, their expressions changed. They saw how our husky positioned herself between the baby and strangers, how she lay down when the baby sat, how she stood up when the baby stood. It was like choreography, perfectly timed, perfectly balanced. People often came up to us afterward just to say they had never seen anything like it. As the baby began to understand emotions, they also began to sense when our husky needed comfort. This was a surprising twist. One evening, after a long day, our husky seemed unusually quiet. She lay down in her corner, head resting on her paws. The baby noticed and toddled over, placing a tiny hand on her head. No pulling, no grabbing, just a soft touch. Our husky lifted her head and gently licked the baby's hand, eyes full of gratitude. In that moment, we realized the bond had become mutual care. There were also lessons being learned, important ones. The baby learned patience by waiting for our husky to finish eating before approaching. They learned kindness by watching how gently she treated smaller animals. They learned courage by seeing her stand tall but calm in unfamiliar situations. Without a single word, our husky was teaching values we hoped our child would carry for life. At home, routines formed naturally. Morning meant quiet cuddles on the floor. Afternoon meant shared playtime. Evening meant lying side by side, watching the world slow down. Our husky became part of every milestone. When the baby learned to clap, she celebrated with tail wags. When the baby learned to dance, she joined in with playful spins. Their joy fed off each other in the most heartwarming way. There were, of course, moments of challenge. Toddlers test limits, and there were times when excitement led to clumsy movements or loud noises. But even then, our husky never reacted with fear or frustration. She simply stood up, repositioned herself, and waited. Her patience felt endless. It taught us that calm responses shape safe environments, something we tried to model as parents too. One particularly emotional moment came during a family gathering. The house was loud, full of unfamiliar faces and sounds. The baby became overwhelmed and started crying. Before we could step in, our husky gently guided the baby away from the crowd, leading them to a quiet corner where she lay down and waited. The baby calmed almost instantly. That moment showed us that protection isn't always about danger, sometimes it's about peace. As time passed, our husky's watchful role became less obvious but no less present. She didn't hover as closely, but she always knew where the baby was. If the baby wandered too far, she followed. If the baby climbed too high, she stood nearby. It was a balance between trust and caution, freedom and safety. She understood that growth requires space, but love requires awareness. The videos we continued to share captured these everyday miracles. Viewers commented about how the husky seemed wise, how the bond felt ancient, like something humans once understood more deeply. Many shared stories of pets who had played similar roles in their lives, guardians, teachers, silent protectors. The comment sections became places of shared memories and emotions, connecting strangers through one simple truth: animals love in ways that change us. As parents, we often talk about what kind of person we hope our child will become. Kind, brave, gentle, loyal. Watching our husky live these qualities every day felt like a gift. She wasn't just protecting our child physically, she was shaping their emotional world. She showed them what trust looks like, what patience feels like, what unconditional love means. One quiet night, long after the baby had fallen asleep, we watched our husky lying near the door, eyes half closed but alert. The house was peaceful. In that stillness, it hit us just how lucky we were. Not everyone gets to witness a promise kept so purely, so consistently. From day one, she chose this role. And every day since, she honored it. Now, as the baby grows more independent, the future feels exciting instead of scary. We know there will be scraped knees, hard lessons, and moments we can't protect them from. But we also know that beside them will be a loyal heart, a steady presence, and a guardian who never forgot her promise. This chapter of the story reminds us that protection isn't about control. It's about presence. It's about walking beside someone as they learn who they are, ready to step in when needed, and ready to step back when it's time. Our husky understood that instinctively. And as we look ahead, we don't see an ending to this story, only new pages. Pages filled with growth, laughter, and quiet moments that might never make it into a video but will live forever in our hearts. Through every stage, one thing remains certain: a promise made with love is a promise that lasts a lifetime.